A sermon from Cale Osier, the Smiling Willow, lorekeeper of the Consonant Legion. The Legion is like a knife. A knife is a weapon, but it is also a tool. It can kill, but it can carve. It can thresh, but it can clean. It can pierce the heart of a foe just as easily as freeing hands from bonds. The gods knew well the use of a knife. In the time before the world, there were only the gods and their ominous father, the dead god who now hangs in the sky. In the beginning, he hoarded creation to himself. When the still living god thought of something new, a god was created, then and there, to embody that thing forever. Though the gods purged his name, we know his children well. Song, life, love, justice, all there is. The children soured on living under their father's tyranny. They begged to share in creation, and he refused. He would not suffer a world beyond his sole design. And so song and life and love and justice and all there is took counsel amongst themselves secretly. They made themselves into knives and sprang upon their father in the night. Thus did the dead god meet his infamous end. But the gods were not done yet, for as quickly as they freed their bondage, they began to create. They carved the dead god apart and used him to make their world, our world. His blood became the sea, his bones the land, his body the sky. They made songs and life and love and justice and all there is. And when they finished, they dropped their knives to Sel Shalel, and each pierced the world, a monument where it landed. Thus ever have the Skydagger Mountains stood, a testament to the bloody creation of the world. The Legion is like a knife. It can kill and it can create. Whichever it does is up to us.
I want to kind of do this in opposite order because we're right here at the end. We're almost at Skydagger, and I think that that's interesting. And technically, like, the way that this would ordinarily work is that we would do downtime on the trail and then advance to the location or something like that. So we would be at whatever the high road location is. But I want us to be at Skydagger for a lot of these scenes.
Oh, okay.
And I think unless anyone explicitly doesn't want to be at Skydagger for these sorts of things, I think we could do some math in advance and then maybe start setting the scenes. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. In which
Gavin,
case,
that was a sigh. Was that a?
I'm trying to think. I think it works.
I think so too. I think it's just flavor at this point. In which case, let's do this. We're not concerned about a secondary mission because we played 2 primary missions. Incur any penalties for missions not pursued. That didn't happen. Lorekeeper, record the names and circumstances of any fallen legionnaires in the record of the fallen.
I don't believe there were any.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, bizarrely.
Yeah.
Not coming out unscathed, though.
No.
I suppose
Far
not.
from.
Yeah.
Quite scathed.
A sousant of scathing. Commander, mark changes to pressure, time, and intel as the result of missions.
Okay. Let's see. We get 2 intel from the recon mission.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts us up to 3, which is lovely. So there's like potential additional rewards includes stuff in the recon mission description. Did we do any of that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought we got troops.
Well, I think the Tailos are there as part of the refugee train.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there was enough done to establish them as like, and we're going to join the Legion.
Sure.
Okie doke. And then from the assault mission, we are awarded 5 morale, -3 time, and 1 favor.
Nice.
Quartermaster, mark changes to supply and assets. I'm not sure that there are any. I don't think there are.
Is this where we took food?
Nope.
Okay.
Going down the list on mission phase in the spreadsheet. Marshal, mark changes to morale. Again, we didn't lose anyone.
Yeah.
And you've already awarded experience points, so we're good there.
If we're not getting the additional troops, do we get supplies at least? Or was that something else that we didn't encounter?
I mean, I don't think anyone brought any supplies from the Omniculum.
Okay.
I'm happy to be corrected about that, but
No, I don't think so. Not unless the Tylos happened to have supply on them and they were like, here, have some extra supply we happen to have.
not given the circumstances in which he left.
Sure, fair.
Okay. So the next thing is a back at camp scene. Like I said, let's skip over that for right now. Commander, note +1 time, +1 pressure.
Sure.
Quartermaster, note -1 food.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and advance the Legion.
Alrighty. So we just rolled the number of pressure dice there are?
Well, you could ask for horses.
Oh,
I have horses saved for this express purpose.
Oh, sweet.
At least in the base game, there's some benefit to the time clock being less filled when you get to the end.
And there's no benefit for having horses left over.
Right.
Sure, listen, if this is what they've been saved for, then yeah, let's get there as fast as we can ahead of the never.
I've marked horses.
Cool. So that reduces the number of dice I roll here by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 0 dice. So that's 2d6 take lower. What? That's a 3.
Okay. That's
Okay.
1 tick, I believe.
It is.
That's the best you could have rolled.
Yeah.
Yup.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. So that takes time, reset pressure to 0.
Dunzo.
Okay, so Skydagger Keep. It is an enormous fortress of stone. Its walls guard the only pass through the Skydagger Mountains, east into the kingdoms beyond Zel-Sha'el. Its ramparts stand unattended. Its heavy wooden doors are sealed shut with the grime of the ages. It is cold. Its huge black stones are covered in snow. And as far as you know, it is empty. It has been abandoned for many, many years. And yet, you are able to find your way because there is a light that guides you. As the dark of night comes, you can see it, warm and bright, beckoning you forward. As you approach the huge broken gates that stand slanted in the snow, and look in at the enormous main courtyard, you can see it. A funeral bier, an incomplete altar on which lies a body, the corpse of the chosen Azmada, left here hundreds of years ago. Limp and desiccated, but still whole, preserved by the cold without and the divinity trapped within, and lit brightly as if the sun were right here, by the shape growing from out of the gaping wound in the corpse's chest. A tree, a huge willow, shining bright. Its roots sprawl from the chest of the chosen and wind desperately, past the altar, past the snow, past the frozen ground, twisting and turning to find the soil deep beneath. And up, up, up each branch twists and turns to shield the body from the sky and the stars above. Each and every branch holds hundreds of leaves, and each and every leaf is a tiny spark of warm, flickering light, as if the whole willow was on fire.
Who's Azmada chosen of? Do we know? We just know her name?
God of secrets and fire and love.
Okay.
Oh, previous
Asmodee
whisper.
was in one of Kale's stories.
Cool.
Yeah, was occupied the same category that Kara currently occupies.
And referring to that story, Brendan, can I make a suggestion about the tree?
Please.
The tree grew out of the arrow that pierced their heart.
100% it did. Yeah. Growing from out of the arrow that pierced their heart is this
so cool.
Great, not burning, I want to be clear, but brilliant, illuminating willow tree. I want each person to describe something interesting or useful, something good, something noteworthy that they discover as we begin to move into the keep.
Like about the environment, about the keep itself.
Either or. Something that makes this, something that reaffirms the idea that, yes, the Legion was right to come here.
Part of me just wants to say supplies.
You can say that.
Okay.
Do you find supplies here?
There's a storeroom.
Yeah. Maybe something like, because I think in the stories that Kale had told, this whole place had been burned up?
It was certainly on fire.
When last we saw it, it was very much on fire. And there's still absolutely like a lot of sign of very, very old fire damage.
Yeah, maybe we find something that either survived the fire or an area that was just like not fully destroyed by it.
Sure.
And
To
there's
be clear, the
stuff
fire
in
was
there.
centuries ago, like 400, 500 years ago.
Yeah, but if it's still on fire, like, I don't know.
The only thing that's still on fire, like presumably you would like put your like the back of your hand to whatever door to make sure there's not going to be a backdraft that opens it up, right? Who finds the supplies?
I guess whoever would be maybe like the spies. Who were the spies again? It was Argyle and Jemma?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Like they sort of get sent or they're part of the group that gets sort of sent out. It's just like, okay, scout out this place. Like are we alone here? What's the condition? Are there any like areas that we should avoid? Are there any areas we need to like seal off or fortify or whatever?
Right.
And just kind of sweeping the place.
Well, not a spy, and if not going officially, I think Suleiman is also with them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just following his nose.
I found things.
The salt, it's still warm.
Yeah, what do you think they find? What is there that would last that long? Or, it's our own fantasy world. We could say whatever it is that lasted, but
This is true.
I mean, people have been presumably still using this building, right? At least passing through once in a while, maybe not like living here.
Yeah, that's fair to say. It's definitely been like a place where travelers would pass through. That's true. So yeah, maybe there's stuff that's not hundreds of years old.
Big, heavy bricks of salt.
Nice.
My next pitch was also alcohol.
It was juice at one point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That'd be so nasty to drink.
Follow the nose.
I know that there's like a way of making fruit syrups where it's just like I have equal parts fruit and sugar. I put them in a, jar and let them ferment for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, we just found these like barrels full of like syrup, alcohol. What is this? And it's like, oh, that used to be fruit.
Right.
Honestly, what probably happens at that length of time is the alcohol evaporates and the liquid just disappears, and it's just like solid chunks of like sugary fruit.
Yeah, it's just preserves.
Fruit sugar?
Like little gummies.
No, it's like crystallized.
Like rock candy, but it's fruit.
Yeah, like orange or purple rock candy.
Like crystal gummies.
Except probably not very good. You have to dissolve it.
Awesome. What else do people find? What's another advantage to this place?
I think I have a pitch sort of based off of Chris's pitch.
Sure.
What if somebody does live here?
Who's that?
I'm thinking this is like some sort of weird hermit scholar.
Okay.
That I think they're both Eyes of Smoke and astronomer.
Oh, cool.
I think they went to both schools and like learned about them and then left and then became a hermit that lived here on this fucking castle on the top of this mountain.
Sure, absolutely. Someone who like knows the ins and outs of Skydagger.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Their name is Felix.
Okay.
And they are Arcadian.
Cool.
And they have instead of like horns, they have a single horn in the top of their head, like a unicorn.
Dang. Okay.
They're incredibly old.
Who runs into them? Who discovers them? Or does Felix just sort of like trot out?
Yeah, they were waiting for us.
Yeah,
right? They have to have been.
Yeah, they knew the prophecy.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
They had supplies for us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good. All right, we'll get back to Felix in a second, it sounds like. I'm looking forward to them. Unless you have more with them.
I wanted to pitch something. I think they introduced themselves as Felix, born of no one.
I'm super into that.
Felix Unborn.
Ugh. No.
Oh, wait. No, that's a thing. My bad. Never mind.
I think they're just kind of like in exile, or like they've purposefully sort of dispossessed themselves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Felix, even just Felix doesn't, unless it's just like Felix, doesn't even necessarily follow the Arcadian naming convention. I like that a lot. Almost in the same way that we saw like Nikolaj kind of cast off Leander trends.
Also Argyle.
And Argyle, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. No, that's great. I like that a lot. What's another advantage here?
Gavin, or who's gone? Is Chris and Devin?
Is Chris and Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gavin, do you have thoughts? I had a thought, but Devin's was close to mine, so now I want to rethink a little.
There's another person here.
No, I was going to say there's a ghost.
And they hate Felix.
They haven't talked to each other in 100 years.
There could definitely
They've drawn
be
a line across Skydagger Keep. That's your side of the fortress.
Exactly.
No. They're unkept, what's the word? Unmaintained siege weapons here. Or counter siege weapons?
No,
Sure.
What is a counter siege weapon?
Like,
Like a fighter jet?
Like the big cauldrons that they boil like pitch in to dump down walls.
the thing you do when you're being sieged.
Okay.
Like
not-
ballistas.
Defense weapon.
I
Siege
guess
defenses?
Yeah, I guess it's mechanically still siege weapon.
Cauldron.
but-
No, I get what you mean. Boiling cauldron on castle.
Or like trebuchets or ballistas that need to be restrung or something.
Sure. Unmaintained anti-siege defenses.
There could be like a trap moat kind of thing too.
Trap moat. I like trap moat. It's probably a pretty solid moat right now.
If we had more time, we could set it up so that the never fall into the fire.
Sure. Yeah. Just, hit open the nap menu and wait for I'm not going to count how many hours that would be. Who examines these siege structures?
2 feet.
Have we seen much of Sufi before now?
I don't think so. We've only had like the 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah. Oz is pretty new to the Legion as well.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about them again.
2 feet is pronouns Ots. Ots is
Right. Okay.
Lark's younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
who isn't actually sworn to the Legion, but is helping them out to figure out what Lark's deal was, I guess.
Right. Apprentice quartermaster.
Yeah.
Sufi live well. Just the best revenge. Cool. Matthew.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say ghost.
There is a ghost.
There is a ghost, but I'm not going to say it.
We
What
don't
I'd
talk
like
about
is,
ghost.
so normally at this point in the base game, you wouldn't have like a massive caravan of refugees with you.
Uh-huh. That's true.
I don't know if you knew this. We may have hacked things a little bit.
Looking
changed
at the
things
book
up a
right
little.
now, I see it. I see it underlined right here. It says no refugees.
Yeah, they were weirdly kind of like their politics are kind of weird.
No, that's not true.
These
That's
rules
not
were
true.
written in Navarro.
It's fine. It's fine. Strauss
What the
Asimov and John
rulebook?
LaBouffe Little are not, as far as we know, canceled.
Sorry. So what I was going to suggest is that sorry, what was the old person's name, Devin?
Felix.
Felix, right. Okay. So I think that how Felix has been surviving for so long here is that they found sort of natural caves underneath Skydagger, which have like an underground river, which is a thing.
Absolutely.
And like the kind of mushrooms what are good for eating.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all would have discovered a bunch of that if you'd taken the other route here, as a matter of fact. So, yeah.
Right. So I think that's, and it's going to be deeper into the mountain. So I think that's where we put like all the refugees for like this next little bit.
Sure. Underground cave, river. I think some of these mushrooms are absolutely bioluminescent. So you can just walk down there and it's just lit up.
It's lit.
It is lit. Mushrooms, what are good for eating and recharging batteries.
Love to see it.
Awesome. I like that a lot. And, it protects, they're not out in the storm.
Exactly.
They're not out in the winter down here. All right. Excellent. Now, I want you each to give me a problem. What's a disadvantage? What's something that needs to be addressed now that you're here?
I can go again.
Okay.
For if we're doing like snake style, what's that called?
Snake draft.
Snake order?
Snake draft. Yes. Yeah. Just snake. Big snake. I think that the caves are both a good thing and a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, you alluded to this earlier, Brendan. There's other routes.
Yes.
From the caves, which means there's other routes in through the caves. So we have another place we need to potentially defend or block off.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Who comes to the realization of the tunnels and the caves? Who realizes that these need to be watched or might need to be
Feels
maintained?
like maybe Waloot would be good, our new scout.
Sure. Waloot can, of course, see perfectly clearly in the dark.
Of course.
Sick.
What else? What's a problem someone finds around here?
There's fire everywhere.
Like where?
Like main hallway. Like what?
It's
What
just
do
like
you,
in
what do
the
you call
mortar
it?
and shit.
Like when you get past all of the defenses in a castle, and there's like that big courtyard. Sometimes it's roofed, sometimes it's not. Atrium.
Yep.
That's just on fire. Like uninhabitable. Can barely skirt around the edges. If you want to get inside the like actual building, you have to like go through the winding like defensive walls of the castle instead of like through the main actual area.
Can I embellish on that a tiny bit?
Please.
It's leaves, right? It's 500 years worth of willow leaves that have been just like circulating through this place. And everywhere they land, they burn. And they just keep burning. And so this atrium is just like, there's hallways that are just jam-packed with what's basically yard waste. It's also fire.
The fire is like, it sucks out oxygen in rooms. It's like, it's too hot to the touch. Like, people who have beasts of burden, like, who managed to bring beasts of burden this far, are, like, they can't bring them into the castle. They'll just all lose their shit.
Yep. Yeah.
As a reminder
100%.
for the listener, the fire is because of an improperly buried chosen dying.
Right.
Nabane's just like, look, this is what my people are all about. This is what we tell you constantly. This is why we have to let us bury chosen.
Is it too late?
Ooh, great question.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
If we don't have any of our people to bury, let's...
Better question. Do we want to bury them? Is it better this way right now? Can we use this to our advantage?
They weren't a villainous chosen. They were considered a good one, but, you know.
Yeah, honor doesn't mean anything. Honor doesn't mean they deserve a proper burial.
Sure.
I have a pitch.
Please.
We can veto this if it's too abstract. But I think... So that last battle we had was in the daylight. So maybe it's like evening by the time we've gotten here. There's too many stars.
I like that a lot.
And they're too big.
Yeah. They're close. They're pulsing different colors.
This is a combination of a couple of different things. This is one, like, all this shit that's been happening. Everything that's been happening. But it's also like, I don't know if you've ever been away from a big city where you're able to escape the ambient light pollution of just like the modern world.
Yeah. Space gets real big.
And you start to realize how many there are up there. And it could be really overwhelming. And this is already a world that does not like to look up at the sky. Devin, who do we see like taking this in?
My first thought is Nikolaj.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know. He's kind of an anxious dude. I imagine him maybe like going up to one of the towers to like sit and think, and then just looks up and is like, "Oh fuck."
Yep.
That scans.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
I think building off of the, like, you know, many places are on fire. Space is real tight. People are kind of on top of each other where they can be, and it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes it. There's only so much space people can, like, set up tents in, or, you know, be like, this is where I'm gonna sleep. Okay, but that's also where, like, more people than usual are going to be sleeping, and everybody is cold and tired, and it's just not nice.
Is this part of, with the underground caves, that, like, there might be more room down there, but people are freaked out?
Or is it even, like, is it explicitly like, no, Legion needs to stay topside?
Oh, sure.
And so they're forced to, like, stick around in this space where there's not enough space.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because if there's going to be areas in the tunnels that we're going to have to defend, like people are probably going to have to go down there to figure out what needs defending and how much or how.
Sure.
But yeah, maybe it is like a let the caravan have their space.
I think there's some people who don't want to be down there because they think the Never will come from there. They'd rather be inside the walls somewhere.
100%.
Have we talked about like how many bodies we have?
Not in concrete terms, I don't think.
Maybe that's not really something we want to establish, but I was just curious.
Medieval capital cities population. 50,000 to 500,000. For Constantinople, which is the largest.
All right. And then how much was the Jewish population of that city?
Like 2% of that.
Okay. That's pretty reasonable.
That's still a lot.
We only had some of that, 2%.
But then, we just had everyone coming out of the gates.
I think you've got maybe 2,000 to 5,000 people in the baggage train.
That's more than I thought.
That's much.
I think
That's less than I thought.
Yeah, I think that number is in flux. I think some people get here with you and are like, all right, bye, we're going east. I think some people get lost. But at the same time, you're also picking up people as you go.
Sure.
To put a cap on it, Chris, who do we see trying to negotiate the problem of not enough space?
Probably Dorado and Lady Yasuko. Or Dorado and Lady Yasuko, and then I guess whoever the representative of Udet's group of people is.
Sure.
Those are the three sort of distinct parties here.
Or there's the Tylos too.
Yeah, there's some Tylos here now too. Shall we do a back at camp scene?
Sure.
You're at 10 morale.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Despite my greatest efforts, you're at 10 morale. We have one medium morale. We have no high morale scenes left. We have one medium left, and we've got a bunch of low. I think you have the pick of the litter.
Let's put it this way. A bunch of bad things have happened to us, and then we just took 2 successful shots at 2 different gods and also just climbed a mountain. Probably pretty tired, but we're doing the damn thing. Fuck.
Yeah, dubs back to back, 100%.
Yeah, so I think the most interesting thing in terms of hitting on consequences of the last couple missions is actually one of these low morale scenes, which is a festering blight wound covered up by a soldier is revealed. I'm interested in, first of all, understanding that a little bit broadly, because none of the blight wounds are festering, right? At least that I know of. And we may not have it be a soldier, because we only have a couple of those, or actually we have 3 of those with blight still. But we had 4 people get level 1 blight or have it exposed in the last couple missions. And so I think what might be interesting is if we have a scene around one of them sort of getting called out and the leadership having to figure out what to do about it.
Cool.
Yeah. So the first question then is, who is it? My pitch is Lance, but I'm willing... We could instead have this be one of the soldiers, and it's Lance talking to them. There's a lot of options here.
One counterpoint I would make to that about Lance would be that he wouldn't hide it.
Sure, but that might even still lead to a conversation, right? Okay. Of Dorado having to be like, "Hey, Lance, so about that last mission where you got your permanent new kiss mark."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, could it just be even if not hiding during a debrief or whatever, Lance doesn't mention and now I have this kiss on me forever, just sort of breezes right past it, and someone has to be aren't you forgetting something with the on your face? We can see that. What happened?
Yeah, that's fun. So
Lance have to be oh, this old thing.
Is everybody on board with that scene setup?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. In that case, I think this is Dorado, Lance, and probably Waloot and Jemma. Nikolaj here also probably, but doesn't need to say anything, or maybe Brendan can pick up Nikolaj if need be.
Sure.
And this is the sort of debrief, and we've just gotten past the sort of summary of what of the mission that we don't need to do because we all were there. And we get to the end here, and I think that did just happen. Devin, if you want to give any more flavor in terms of how Lance would sort of like brush past his new kissy mark, his My Little Pony cutie mark, feel free.
Yeah, I think he like kind of just laughs about it and is like, how does Lance the God Kissed sound?
Oh my god.
Are you serious?
Deadly.
I need to talk with Nabane, but I'm sure we can perform some kind of removal transplant or something like that.
Because I'm wondering like what. Because Dorado's issue here is that like Lance doesn't seem to take any issue with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Some of our best soldiers have been touched. If we're going to punish this sort of thing, where will we be?
yeah, I guess that's my question. Like, are we punishing people about it? I don't actually know what the response is to blight.
I mean,
it's concerning, but in more of a like, are you okay way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know we haven't really addressed blight much before. Like, what is the response to it? I mean, Udette was just like, give me all of the horrible curse things. I'll have them. But that was Udette. I don't know how much that was other Legion being like, we'll hang on to those. I don't think people like them.
I mean, it makes us fucked up little guys. We know that.
Sure, but I think it's important to color that, like, as much as we as players like those things, these characters, at least from a neutral standpoint, would probably regard those as both unholy and dangerous. Like, I think Nikolaj would ask, like, it's not about punishing, it's about the Legion's safety. You've been marked by one of the broken. Can they see the world through your eyes, hear the world through your ears, speak through your mouth? I don't know the answer to these questions. Do you?
I think our good friend Whisper would find a way to do that anyhow.
I'm fine.
Nikolaj like sweating like as if he's like a in LA Noire when a character is lying and they make a face that's like that's Nikolaj
So
right now.
good.
What?
Oh no!
Have we gotten all the blight buddies together?
I think Kaya might actively be in like a medical tent because they got pretty hurt. Like, also smoke drifts off of them sometimes, so that's hard to hide all the time.
Waloot was saying something?
I'm fine. If there was something to be concerned about, I would have brought it up.
Jemma giving Waloot a look.
Dorado would be like, so that kind of openness, I think, is what we need from everyone. Considering that you didn't even mention it as part of this debriefing, Lance, I have to wonder if, had no one noticed, would you have said anything? Would you have put the Legion at risk, potentially at risk, just because you don't think there's a problem?
Nikolaj looks at Jemma.
Waloot looks at Jemma.
Jemma looks at the side of the tent.
Well, one, I thought the story would be better told orally.
Nikolaj coughs.
and two, our good friend Aisling has been marked for a while, and that has not led us into any danger. Ignoring the times that Aisling almost like went beast mode and did something crazy.
Nikolaj desperately flipping through notes. Aisling.
Yeah, Dorado's like looking between Lance with a like, are you kidding me face, looking between Nikolaj, like looking through these notes, like, Dorado's probably still, in the process of going through notes and files and being like, okay, who all is everyone and what happened? Because I kind of just got into this part of this. And then also following everyone else's gaze to look at Jemma, be like, is anything else not being said? Because this feels like the time and place to be open about things. What are we looking at? Jemma, do you have something you want to share?
No, Commander.
How about your little friend?
Is there anyone else who would like to share? Any information?
Are you talking about Penthos?
Dorado looks at Nikolaj with a who is that? File? Papers? Who's Penthos?
Penthos died back at Starpot.
Yeah. What do you think Penthos thinks right now, Jemma?
I mean, I think that he just wants the meeting to be over. Y'all could ask.
I'm sorry, thinks? Present tense.
Yeah.
Lance puts his hand on Waloot's shoulder, like, hey, cool it.
Okay. It seems like several people have not said enough for a while now. But this is the whole Legion's safety that we are talking about here. I'm not saying that anyone who has been afflicted like this is immediately going to burst into one of Ruin's awful creations or start whispers anything. Look, I'm not saying that you're currently a threat, but you need to be upfront about these things because the whole Legion is potentially at stake if you do become that threat. You may not see these problems now, but we don't know when they will hit, and we do not know what the Broken can do. You swore oaths to this Legion to fight with them, to fight for them, to protect others, and to protect each other.
Well, Dorado, have you found a wing that you can sequester all of us into?
Commander Dorado.
Is that needed? And is looking everybody in here in the eye.
No, Commander.
No, Commander.
Then let's get back to our duties.
Quartermaster, it is time to spend free campaign actions based on current morale. As we've said, despite every tool in my arsenal, you're at 10 morale, which means you have 2 free actions.
Think we need a liberty?
Probably, yeah.
We need a liberty, and we probably need a heal. And are we counting that supply as a mechanical supply we got?
We didn't get a supply, did we?
Chris talked about finding one.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm willing to say that, yeah, you can use that right now as you have found a supply. That is a thing that is true.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. And to be clear, I don't have what that would have turned into in terms of what the next set of missions is going to be. But
Sure.
I think that's a sensible, that's an advantage that you can deal with. Or that you can take advantage of, rather. An advantage that you can take advantage of. Get it together, Brendan.
An advantageous advantage.
I'm canceling the show.
Already?
Okay, so yeah, you've got a supply to work with there.
I think I want to boost liberty
Ooh.
because we're out of the drugs. And then rest and recuperation. Each Legionnaire marks a tick in any harm row. Our mercies.
We have 2 mercies. I think they're both free.
Oh, yeah. What was the question, Chris?
How many ticks are in each harm row?
So it's 1 for 1, 2 for 2, for 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Kaio has an ability, which one? Vigorous. Yeah, when you check wounds during rest and recuperation, place 1 free check.
Mm-hmm.
So I might just... go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. Navane also has one remaining use of Doctor that he didn't get to use on the way out. And if Brendan will let me, I could use that here.
Sure.
If somebody needs a second tick in a healing clock. Or just a tick generally.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
I also never got to use my moral support. Everybody with me heals 1 stress.
I don't think there was time for it based on the situation.
Sure, that's fair. And we
Yeah.
just did the boosted stress heal, so not as
Right.
concerned about that one.
So basically, Devin, you're the one who's in charge of the bookkeeping for this.
Of
Of
character sheets and
stress
stuff.
and marking healing ticks.
Yeah, I've been ticking down stress on folks.
Okay.
I don't super remember how the healing tick thing works.
So it's 1 tick for 1, 2 ticks for 2, 3 ticks for 3. I don't think anybody has level 3 harm. Oh, and that's not true.
Yeah,
The rookies did.
several rookies do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So basically, the Amber Wolves are out of commission for the final battle, and that's just fine.
Yeah, they got so fucked up.
We can also use a mercy to just take on a harm.
And if you wound a mercy, 1 specialist gains an extra healing tick.
And then we have 1 from Nabane. So we have sort of a total of 3 free floating ticks as well.
Okay. Well, let's look at what we got. So Kaio has 1 level 2 and 1 level 1. Lance has 1 level 2. And I think everybody else is clean except for those rookies.
No, there's Nikolaj has a level 2.
Obeek
has a level 1.
Well, Obeek's
There's those
going to lose
rookies
this
with
level 1 with the...
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, Obeek was included in the room.
I think there was someone else. Oh, Jemma has separation anxiety still, but yeah,
that
they can clear
clears
that
here.
with 1 tick.
Tyr the rookie is rotting.
Shook has fucking level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does
All the Emerald
all of
rookies
them do.
took level 3 harm.
Yeah. There's no way we're going to heal them in time.
Yeah.
No.
Unless we didn't want to stress heal.
No, we desperately needed that stress heal.
Yeah.
My suggestion is we use our free ticks to get as many of the specialists fully cleared up.
Okay, because I can clear Kaio's level 2 harm with the R&R and their ability, and then I just have the 1 level 1 harm.
Yeah, and then we could use one of the mercies for that.
And then Lance could use 1 mercy to clear that, or do we want to clear Nikolaj more?
We can do both, because we have Nabane's free doctor as well.
Oh, okay. Then we'll do all that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's all specialists clear. For flavor, let's have Nabane heal Nikolaj, just because we've got like a Nikolaj Nabane thing going on.
If I could just add a thing, I also really like, and I'm not saying we need to play this out, but I also really like Nabane being the one to help Nikolaj through the terror, because, Nikolaj is a person who's afraid of not having the answer, and so, I feel like just going over, books and stories and histories and prophecies and whatever with Nabane of just, so here's who these 3 motherfuckers in the thing were, right, would be yes, and now I've just, looked at all of the answers and information, and I feel better about it. It's very funny to me. When I was... yes, these 3 Migos. When I was 13, I saw the movie Red Eye, which was a not great thriller movie with Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. And for weeks afterwards, I was terrified that I was going to be kidnapped and because it's the Cillian Murphy kidnaps Rachel McAdams because she's a manager at a hotel, and it's we need this room so that we can assassinate some guy. And I was afraid that someone was going to kidnap me for my access as a 13-year-old.
Yep, that's it.
Yep, and eventually it got so annoying to my older sister at the time that she just kind of sat me down and was hey, look, no one's going to kidnap you because you are not worth kidnapping. You have no information, you don't have access to anyone important, you don't have access to anyone unimportant. You are literally, it would make no sense to target you for this. And I was oh my God, you're right, that's so much better. And my mom was don't say that to her, that's so mean. So my sister was you're not important enough for that. And my mom was don't say that. And I was no, that's perfect, actually, that's great, thanks. And then it was fine.
Amazing.
And we said one of the mercies was taking on Lance's.
So,
Yeah, Lance's
and
Lance's
Kaio's.
is lost, so that's kind of a wild one to pass on.
Oh, that's actually no. That's really interesting because I specifically wanted to get a follow up on Lance is the only person who heard about how the gods are gone. Is this Lance in therapy basically with mercy and being or with freedom and being so
The gods are gone.
And Freedom just leaves that meeting what the fuck?
Okay, but Freedom's a
mat store.
mat store. So
yeah, so this might actually be more healthy for Lance and for them.
So the conversation ends up. Yeah, do we have that conversation?
I would love to have that on screen if you feel like having
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I'm done.
Gavin,
Just really quick,
I feel like
I had
Brendan,
completely
please.
forgotten that Nikolaj had the level 2 armed terror when I was in that previous scene, but I think I still nailed it.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Matthew, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to ask if Gavin would be willing to play Freedom, since I think he has
Yes.
the best handle
Yes.
on that.
Please.
Cool. So, Devin? How
Okay.
does Lance talk to Freedom about this?
So, because like we've kind of described how Lance is like basically just like overclocking all of his like senses and emotions at all times, pretty much. Like he's just always going at 110%, and if he like slows down, he'd probably like pass out. So I'm kind of, I almost can't even picture him like sitting down to like relax and talk to somebody.
I imagine Freedom, like, Dorado sends Freedom is like, hey, this guy's trying to, like, he's trying to get the rookies to train while we're, like, doing a Liberty. Please talk to him.
I think Freedom comes into the tent with like a bowl of nuts in one hand and like a pot of hot tea in the other. Abuna Lance.
Mercy, Freedom. Nice to see you.
Sets everything on the table.
Oh, I'm fine.
They nod understanding and pours themselves a glass and takes a nut, peeling off the shell. Are you sure, Lance?
Are you here to help me? Is that why you're here? Did Dorado send you?
Tell me what happened in that mission.
Well, you probably didn't hear my recounting of the story earlier, but I stood up for my people. I sequestered the broken in the pub while I let my talented soldiers and rookies under my command get the job done. And I took the opportunity of a lifetime to thrust a knife through the heart of a broken.
That must have been scary.
Yes, but we all do what we need to do for the Legion, for Sel, and I would have regretted not taking that opportunity had I let it slip through my fingers.
Of course.
And got a little bit of a battle scar to remind me.
Just a scar?
I forget how he described it. The like kiss mark on his like cheek.
Maybe it's different now. What does it look like?
Because I wrote it down as mutation. As a blight. He's one tick away from a second blight too. I didn't notice that. Or I forgot about that. Because like whisper stuff isn't like gross usually, right?
Yeah, I mean,
depends on how you feel about mind stuff.
nothing that Whisper does is ever short of beautiful.
Because it wouldn't be like a kiss mark that's like rotting flesh, right?
No, nothing like that.
Like, yeah, is it
it's
just
just
a
smiling?
pristine? Oh, go ahead.
What if it's a pair of lips, but both the top and the bottom, if you look at them, they're also like a birthmark flame. Like,
it's like a burn mark, like a brand.
Yeah. But almost like a styled flame itself. Yeah.
Cool. Some some Guy Fieri vibes.
Yeah,
The hottest man on earth. Guy Fieri.
I feel like Lance and Guy Fieri would get along.
Lance
Anyways,
looks at Whisper and it's just Guy Fieri.
Well, I was touched by one of the, last vessels of the gods.
You want to talk about that?
I always knew I'd be, like the legends and stories.
Which legends?
Like the brave legionnaires that stood up against grave threats to Sel. Not one of them came out clean, per se.
Did Whisper say anything to you or speak to you in some way without words?
Oh, yeah. She just unveiled dark truths about the cosmos, but who's to say if it's true?
Dark truths?
Oh, yes, they claim that the gods have left us. That can't be true. Kind of fingers his rosary.
I think Freedom, like, takes a sip of tea shakingly, but it's not, like, out of fear. Lance is good at reading people, I think. They're sipping tea because they're trying not to laugh.
She wanted to bring her people somewhere else, since we've been abandoned here. They think this place is being left to rot and die, and it's time to move on to the next one, to find the perfect new world. What do you think of that?
I think it's not worth trying to find a new world when we're already here.
That's what I said.
We might as well make this one better.
It's exactly what I said. See?
What's this about the gods not being here?
I think he grips the rosary and it breaks. The beads scattering to the floor. Well, when was the last time you saw a miracle?
Personally?
Do you feel like the gods are watching over you? Blessing you with their wisdom and light? Staring at the floor as the beads settle.
The Lord of Song is in every piece of music, in every rhythm. The last time I saw a miracle, Udet split an army so that thousands could leave relatively unharmed.
That was quite impressive. But you say that the Lord of Song is in every piece of music. How would you know what music would sound like without them? How do you know there isn't a hidden instrument that used to be there that you can no longer hear?
I can't know what I can't know. Look, Lance, we Mitzrayim have a angry relationship with our God. We're the ones who wrestle with the Lord of Song, as it said. She's not present because she doesn't need to be. It's not her place to act more than she already has. We understand that Zeltshell is our responsibility. No one's going to come and swoop down and save us.
Do you think she's right then? About the gods leaving us behind? How could the god of life still live when ruin scatters across the world like a mold, consuming everything? How could the god of the sky still exist if it drips from the sky and warps us and corrupts us? How could the god of justice still live when the cities burn and people fight amongst themselves? And slumping down in his chair, mask fully dropped at this point.
Are you still alive? Is there still life?
Yes, but what if it's despite the gods?
Is there still a sky?
A rotting one.
Are you giving up on justice?
I never give up anything.
Then what does it matter if the god's here or not?
It doesn't. The only thing that matters is survival.
Now you're thinking like a monster.
Is this what you came here for? To give me therapy?
Lance, everyone needs therapy. You're just lucky enough to get it.
OATHSWORN is an actual play podcast created by
Devin Nelson.
Gavin Frazier.
Chris Allison.
Matthew Guzdial.
and me, Brendan McLeod. All music for the show is created by Devin Nelson. Find it and more at devindecibel.bandcamp.com. Find a link to their music and any of the games that we've played in the podcast description. Follow us at OathSwornPod on Twitter or at OathSwornPodcast.com. If you enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with a friend or rating us 5 stars on your podcast platform of choice. Until next time.